All right. Hope you're all doing fantastic today. And what we're going to be working on right now is a painting to beat the heat. So it is summertime in Southern California, and although it's not as hot as some other places, it's going to get to the 90s today, and that is just hot enough that it becomes a little tough to paint indoors. And I need to get like my own stash of hair ties. Can't find mine for whatever reason. What is? My goodness. I need to just throw it onto the same place every single day. But or I should find it before I actually I swear my cat probably like takes them and like hides them in places. I don't know. One day they're gonna show up, but for now I just have to use a clip. But anyway, yeah, it's summertime and I gotta beat the heat because once it gets too hot, I'm oil painting, and once it gets too hot, it's hard to paint indoors because the air conditioning has to be on, and it's really hard to get a good level of circulation in the room in order to make get circulation in order to make the smells from all the oil paints work or get around. So one of the main reasons to paint in a nice open space with good ventilation. I fortunately have the opportunity to paint right next to a door, but I know that's not the that's not the case all the time for all people, which makes oil painting tough. But if you can push through it, you can get some amazing designs. Marianne Sorensen, what's going on? How are you? Just airing out the room a little bit as we start our painting session for the day. So what's going on? How is it in Norway? Or so yesterday I got the colors surrounding this color combination, or the top and the bottom, is loosely inspired by Mark Rothko. Loosely inspired by Mark Rothko. What we're going to do now is we're going to add more details specifically on the face. So I need to invest in a nice set of filbert brushes from Rosemary and Co. You get them pretty affordably. A new set of filbert brushes. Where did all my filbert brushes go? So I don't get too specific when it comes to brushes, like using the exact perfect brush for something. I don't usually get too specific, but there are certain parts of a painting, certain details that I like to paint with certain ones. So anyway, someone just followed me on TikTok. Thanks so much. Thanks for the summer. The summer came at last. Cool. Yeah. Are you in school? What's going on there? So I started painting this head up here, and what I want to do is I want to add some shadows. So what I got to do is I need to darken this purple that I have here. So let's add a little bit of, let's make the purple just a bit darker. Gonna add some of this, let's add some of this red here. Gonna put this red into this blue to mix this. Add a darker shade of this. Summer is here at last. You know, I live in California, and the weather's pretty good here like most of the year. And what I often find myself thinking nowadays is, looking back when I used to live in Florida, I grew up in Florida, and I often look back and I wonder to myself, like, how did I as a child survive the Florida heat? And kids are just sturdy people, I believe, is the answer. What am I looking for right now? I am looking for an ultramarine blue. Nice dark blue to work with. Let's go into this head right here and just capture some of these details. So this is actually quite an interesting challenge to paint, because basically what I have to do is I have to separate the head from the hair. And that's going to create an interesting and unique set of challenges that we'll see how this is something I've never actually done before, painted this type of hair. Arjan, wishing me a good day, champ. Thank you, king or queen or prince or princess. Thank you for tuning in. So basically what I need to do is I need to pop this down. Let me bring in a little bit of black. Don't be afraid of black. And here's what we're doing. We are creating a little shadow area to separate the side of the head with the other parts. But also what needs to happen is we need to come down here. And How's everyone doing? What am I gonna call this? I don't have a name for it yet, honestly. I don't always name my paintings because I often paint so much that that I don't name every painting. And also, like, not all of these paintings I'm planning for sale. In the sense that, of course, I would sell it, but a lot of these paintings are exercises, sketches. So they're not necessarily all for sale. So I don't, or they're not intended as pieces that are supposed to be like flagship pieces or anything like that. So I don't name all of them. Occasionally I do, but it can be tiring, like coming up with a name and on top of all the painting and other creative things that have to go into it business wise. So, the name I feel like is something that I could come up with at the end, unless it's like, something very specific, like I'm totally inspired by something and I feel like I have to give it a name. But a lot of these pieces, I don't necessarily feel like they need a name. So that's that for this specific piece. But also, like, every once in a while, like, I'll just feel the pressure to give it a name and I'll just make something up. But I don't necessarily have a name for this one right now. So I like the effect this brush is having, although it's not ideal. It is giving like a mustachioed look. Is it abstract? I would say it's somewhere in between. Somewhere in between. Because, these heads do represent something, right? You could tell that it's a head. I'm not, doing a symbol of a head. But it's not hyperrealism. And there's definitely, something between super hyperrealism and abstract. I guess there's a lot of things in between that. But for me, this is more so specifically just this is more about doing these heads, but also at the same time pushing different designs and exploring various characteristics as far as the background goes. So, yeah. That would be that answer. And here we go. We're actually going to keep using this brush for the hair. I really like the effect that it's getting. But yeah, what do you mean, is that all I paint? Is that all I paint abstract? I mean, one thing's for sure, I don't paint, I don't do hyperrealism. People who do hyperrealism have a very special gift. And that gift is a relentless attention to detail, a incredible talent for being incredibly precise, and an incredible level of patience that I personally don't care for as part of developing into my personality trait. Now, I have my own level of patience, but I think technical artists that do a lot of hyper realist work, they are on a whole different level. And yeah, they have a gift, and that what they do is not something I aspire to. I mean, it would be cool for me to be able to flex online and show how hyper realist I could paint, but it's not what I do. So right now I'm just I'm marking the same places over and over, and I'm trying to find a way to make these marks look more hair-like. Oh, I don't paint nature? Yeah, I paint nature. I have a lot of nature paintings. I do plein air quite often. I just haven't done plein air recently because it's been so hot out at peak day. But when it's not summertime, I'll probably go out maybe once every 2 weeks or a month. So I actually like how this hair what this hair effect that I have is. So what I need to do is I need to actually keep going with this like hairstyle and go into the actual piece itself and work on the rest of the hair right there to give it this hair effect. Because I like it. I like what this has done. That's one thing about the way I paint is I'll try things and I'll find something that like creates like an interesting effect, and I'll like go with it rather than sticking to one specific plan I had. I think it creates something interesting. Like I almost feel like I could touch this hair right here. Oh, may you see one? Yeah, absolutely, Marianne. So let me show you a couple. Here's one of my nature paintings. It's of a cafe in Malibu. One of my nature outdoor paintings. Went for some very impressionist effects on the water. Something a little different. Got a little guy on a little boat right there. Always got to capture somebody. Always people out in nature in LA. Let me go find another one for you. So, by the way, for the record, this is based on a Vincent van Gogh drawing. So this is based on one of his drawings. This is not my design. He made the basic drawing, and I just painted it. So, but I consider this nature. When you say nature, I don't necessarily know if you mean like, you know, anything that's not faces and stuff. But this is also based on a Vincent van Gogh drawing. So he made the drawing and I painted it. And this, oh. And this is a painting based on the outdoors, but it's not necessarily nature. I guess Hollywood, there's very little that's natural in Hollywood. But yeah, this is an inspired piece. I'll grab a couple more for you. Okay, I had to go through all my stuff, but here's a smaller piece. This is a much smaller piece. You could tell how I've started to do bigger and bigger paintings. But this one was this one was one of my earlier pieces. I call this My Morning with Vincent van Gogh. And there's a funny story about this. So I was out at a park and I was out in nature painting this. And basically what I was trying to do was, I was imagining Vincent painting out here, and this family came by. It was a guy, the dad, his daughter, and then the daughter's cousin, which is also his niece. And what they did, the niece didn't speak English. And the daughter, so the cousin, came up to me and she was like, "Hey, my cousin wants to see your painting. She's also a painter. She's a training to be an artist." And I was like, "Oh wow, well does she want to take the brush and paint something?" And this, I swear, that moment is what taught me how to paint impasto. So impasto is a technique where you use thick layers of paint. And as you could see, You can look on this painting, and you can actually see how good her mark was compared to mine. If you want to look at this, take a look in a second and guess what was the mark made by somebody else. You can kind of see who made brush strokes that are different. There's a part that's different than every other, and I'll let you guess. And if you want to guess, she painted this tree, and what you can see by this tree is that the marks on this tree, the way she uses the brush strokes, are very. When I saw this, I was like, "That is how you do it," and I feel like that girl was like brilliant because she must have guessed that that I was basically trying to do something Vincent van Gogh like, and I was trying to go for this like this brush strokey type of painting with like really thick layers, but I didn't know how to do it at the time. I was very timid with paint at the time, or not timid, but I was very conservative with paint in a sense that I didn't know how to confidently lay down thick layers of paint, and you could tell that she did. You could tell that this young girl knew exactly like how to do it, and I literally learned from that moment what I needed to do. Otherwise, I'd probably still be making marks like these, and I still make marks like these sometimes, but as far as the learning of like how to there's a time and place for everything, I think, but at some level, there was something very special about this tree and the way that she did it. It's like she read my mind. She knew what I was trying to do, and she added to it. Uh, very, very powerful experience there. The round tree, yeah, the round tree, exactly. So, the round tree was painted by a professional student. Everything else was painted by me. But this was how many years? This was 7/23. Oh, last year, literally like 1 year ago, July 2023, which would be today's the 18th, right? So 1 year or less, 360 days ago was when I did this. And I think one of the biggest differences in my painting, I mean, obviously this is a totally different style. It's a totally different design. I'm not painting outside. But one thing that I think I notice a lot with my paintings now is that the colors are much more clear because I've become more confident with using paint. But anyway, fun painting. This is a nature painting. Here's another early painting of mine. It's a very ambitious attempt at painting a city, and it's pretty cartoon-like. But yeah, it was quite an ambitious attempt at painting Universal City Walk. And yeah, there's an entire cityscape out there painted from above on a hill. And that's what I was going for. I don't know how I would necessarily do it differently if I was to paint this again, but you call this nature. I'll show you one more. So I think this is a good example of how my artwork has changed quite a bit. So this one I explored playing with like a red underlayer, and yeah, really using brush strokes out here to play with how a sky looks, and using different techniques for some of the different things, the buildings, using some thicker brush strokes for leaves and things like that. But overall, this is like a grassy area. But yeah, you can see kind of a little transformation of nature and everything. So this is one of my bigger paintings, and yeah, this is a fun piece. I did this one outside. So to answer your question, yes, I do paint nature. I paint in nature. I paint nature. And there we go. So let's see, where was I? I was doing these beards. I was doing this beard here. So let's see. I need to get up into here. This needs to be in shadow right here. You know what? We're gonna clean this brush off, and we're gonna continue some more things. What I want to do right now is create a version of this purple that I have. So yes, I want to create a version of this purple that I have here, and we're gonna give it like a similar effect to give him like a standardized hairstyle. Round out around the side of his head here. And let's see, what I also need is to give this hair this effect of it coming in. I think I make this shadow a bit too. All right, and there we go. I do see like it's starting to come along better. You could tell how this hair instantly starts to have more character when I do this part. So right now I need a lip. I need something right under the lip and the nose. So it's going to form right under the mouth. We're just going to go with a bright mustache here. And this is just adding some highlights onto the chin and the hair so that, let's see, the mouth ends right here, starts right above the mouth. Ooh, I'm getting a nice little breeze in here. It's peak summer. I'm just getting a nice little breeze. Let's add some more of this color. I really like this color so far. Bring in a little more of our blue. And something that I need to do is I got to make this head round again. So yesterday when I was painting over it, it did this thing where I kind of reshaped his head. So now it looks funny. And here we go. So, boom, boom. Get some more paint. Get some more of this paint. Let's bring this across. So we're gonna tighten up some of this here. And the hair kind of, gonna give it some texture going down. Bring it across. And it's these little bits of highlight that can start to give a lot more dimension to the beard here. Just some of these highlights. And here we go. So really pushing this through, getting this one interesting mustache here. And do a little bit of blending in here. I don't want this to be so dark, this area of the hair to be too dark, because it really doesn't need to be that much into shadow here. Just a little bit to, otherwise it looks like a bad hair dye job. So I just need a little bit to give it the sense of shadow, not so much to create a full-on shadow. So to do that, all you need to do is blend in the two spaces. There we go, gives that extra dimension, just what we're looking for. Okay. Let me not be timid with my paint, as I was mentioning earlier. Somehow include these brush strokes as part of the design. You know what I should do right now is I should fill in these spaces that I missed, just to give like the painting a more complete feel. Here we go. So let me see, this ear, I'm gonna paint in this green here, this green blue. Trying to match up this value here. I use a lot of white to match this value. Oh, needs a little bit more white. Oh, cool. So that's almost the same exact color, which is what I'm looking for. And let's see, right here I need to go behind the ear. I just want to fill in the spaces. Eventually I'll go in and add some more detail, add some more specific detail, but for now I really just want to clear up some of these areas. Like here. Otherwise it's a bit distracting, you know? And then right here. And then using my references, so you know, I'm going into my references and I'm seeing what needs to be done. This section needs right here to have like to have a more distinct separation here. Fern, what's up? How you doing, Fern? Talking to my cats. During my live streams, you'll see how I talk to my cats. And I can imagine if I just lived alone, which I don't, and all I had were cats, I would totally talk to them, like all day long. Right, Fern? Fern, if we were living together by ourselves, would you listen to me talk to you all day long? Would you tolerate my? By the way, I don't. Oh, Boost Your fam, what's going on? It's been a minute. Good to see you pop in again. Have you been experimenting with roadblocks, or is that what you said you usually play, Roblox or something? What's going on? Did you say roadblocks or some type of block that you do? And I've been struggling with this character's ear, and I might have to come back to this and decide what I'm gonna do with it at some point to get really specific with it. But for now, I just want to lay down these very crucial color areas. And this gentleman's head needs to be rounded out as far as shadow goes. And still have a lot of paint left over, so let's make sure that we fill in some of our space here. What areas need to be lightened? Right up here we need some lighter detail come around. Boost your fam with the high. Hey, hey. How's it going? So we're going to come down here. Make sure that we get a lot of this paint. Paint goes on the canvas. Paint goes everywhere. And you know what? I gotta go. I could probably throw in this color here just to put it in here. Just to have this base layer. And I can darken it in a little bit, because this is supposed to be like a shadow space. Like a light shadow, like a mid shadow. So when I say like mid shadow, what I mean is like any object that has shadows, most of them, or most objects with shadows have like a transition shadow, you know, something in between the super dark area that's getting no light and the super light area that gets all the light. And that's what we gotta aim to capture here. This looks a little funky, it feels very unnatural, so I'm going to round this out, make it a little bit more natural, and then here we go. What are we doing with this? Riley, this is probably your favorite painting so far. Have you seen all my paintings? You've seen all my paintings? This is your favorite? Thank you. Yeah, it's got, I think this painting has a lot of variety. It quite a variety of flavors to it. I took some inspiration as far as this two double colored top and bottom. Took the inspiration from Mark Rothko in this sense of merging these two colors, and definitely wanted to add some spice though, you know, so I threw in some red there. Actually, these little red lines are like inspired by this daydream I had, and I decided to paint an abstract version of that. And the heads, I love doing this project. Air out the room a little bit more. So what's going on, Riley? What's the latest with you? As I air out the room and drink my Monster. You've seen the ones you've seen. Yeah, you know, I would say that although all of my paintings are my favorite paintings, I do have ones that are less or more favorite than others. And I do like this one a lot, for sure. It has a lot of interesting characteristics. Should I be, you know, talking about my own painting? What do you like about it, Riley? I feel like it's cheesy to talk about the qualities of my own painting. I think that's the real reason why artists need gallerists and curators. It's not because I mean, maybe it is because the curators know how to talk to people and they're social. I met this artist the other day. They were drawing something, and I asked them, I was like, oh, hey, that's great. Like, what do you do? And he's like, I'm making a comic book. And I was like, oh, cool. So, and then I was like, oh, what's the comic book about? And he's like, it's about me. And I was like, oh, it's cool. So like, I was trying to really get him to talk about his art, and he wasn't having any of it. I don't know. Like it made me realize, like, if you're gonna be an artist, the more and more people I meet, the more and more artists I get to meet, I realize that, like, I don't want to, like, how do I say this without sounding mean? There are some artists that I've met that have, like, a personality that wouldn't do well in a world where personality is very important in art. And, you know, obviously it's about the art, and you know, you always have like a curator or a gallerist or like a business manager that can help you do all the talking. So artists don't, I mean, if an artist is absolutely brilliant, they could be mute, and, you know, they would still need to find someone to help talk about their work. But you know, for those of you that want to live stream, that want to create content, that want to be artists, just know that there's a lot of artists that, like, don't communicate very well. And I think that can be a very hard challenge to overcome. But if you can communicate well, if you are able to just, like, talk about your work a little bit, have a 30-second elevator pitch instead of just like one-word answers, I think you could be pretty successful. You know, at least a little bit better. But anyway, maybe this artist just wasn't having a good day, but they were really having none of my questions into their artwork. And I think someone like that really needs help from a gallerist or a curator or a people person to help them manage their business, or to even help them sell their ideas. But if you can, like, I could definitely see someone not being able to become a streamer that way. Or maybe they thought I was like making fun of them or something. I don't know. I don't think I was making fun of them. So anyway, very touchy subject there. What's been going on with you? You love the colors and the style like you do to really know the word for it, the structure. Yeah, some people are just naturally busy. Go to the gym, go to work, have a drink with friends. Freaking awesome. That's amazing. Yes. So are you drink with friends, or are you are you a tequila, rum, tequila, hard liquor, or more wine, a good wine, sip and paint type of person? But as you said, like, even more than being bitchy, I could care less if someone's like bitchy or whatever. You know, all of that's gonna affect their work in some way. But more importantly, you know, if you're not having a good day, you shouldn't have to feel like you have to be nice to people. So, you know, it's really hard to overcome challenges that you have in life. It's really hard. I can understand that, you know, people just have bad days, and you know, maybe they were having bad days. So I want to give the benefit of the doubt. But even more importantly, for any career, also this wasn't an environment to really be bitchy. This was a guy, by the way, so I'm not calling a woman a bitch because she was mean to me. That's not what I'm doing. Riley, in this specific video, used that term. So I'm just reiterating this idea. Being mean or whatever, just not being... be your own salesperson, I guess. You know, be your own marketer is the more important lesson that I kind of took away. And although I've constantly known that, I know that I'm realizing more and more through just that conversation. I'm like, there's a lot of people who want to sell artwork, to be artists, but you know, they might be good at art, but they don't have the necessary communication skill or necessarily communication skill to do that. So, you know, if you have dreams of being a live streamer and you think you could do better than when someone asks you about your artwork, and you think you can do better than just say, I'm painting, these are some heads, I used yellow and blue, it's just heads. Why are you asking me about my heads? You know, if you could do better than that, I think you have an advantage. So, anyway, that just blew my mind. You love whiskey with a passion, but you know, you drink beer from time to time. And, of course, there's a fine line between, you know, talking too much, which I only talk too much because I live stream and it's part of the gig. But let's say I listen more than I talk in person. So anyway, you love whiskey with a passion, but you know, you drink beer from time to time. All right, a whiskey and beer person. Wonderful. Yes, whiskey and beer are definitely very important for social activities. So long as it doesn't start to negatively affect your life, hopefully, you know, you have a positive relationship with those things. Hopefully that relationship is positive. And if it is not, I do hope that, you know, you are able to get what you need. Get what you need. So anyway, let's go on and let me see. I'm going to focus on the details on this middle head here, which I feel like I've kind of neglected a bit. And what I want to do for this piece is, let me finalize some of these shadows, and then I'm going to finalize some shadows, and then I'm going to finalize some shadows. Wow, you used to not. Well, hey, congratulations on improving your relationship with those things. It's not easy. So let's see. Rosie Red, welcome. What's going on? Thank you for liking the live. I know I'm not as active on. Oh yeah, Rosie Red, you've been here for a minute. Thanks for the support. I know I'm not as active, and Coda. I know I'm not as active on TikTok as much as I could be, but yeah, thank you for the like. Kitty Calm, welcome. So Riley, yeah, thanks for being open about that. I think it's important to be conscious of the positive improvements that you make in that area when you have those challenges. So anyway, let's see here. So what I need to do with this head is bring in this shadow. So this needs to be a shadow right here. Let's go down and really establish our shadows a little better. So this is like a black that I'm using. So drink it. What? My goodness, 13. Oh my goodness, wow. By the way, totally, like, if you don't feel comfortable sharing anything, I don't want you to feel like I'm asking you to, as much as it is, something that you just feel comfortable talking about. Because I know, I know that could be a very private matter. And, yeah, but, totally, if you do want to share it, I thank you for doing so. I know it's important to talk about those things. Yeah, so 13, my goodness. I mean, I would say I had drinks when I was like 13. I feel like a lot of people in the United States, they have some experience, whether it's like at a family gathering where somebody just gives you like a little glass of champagne or whatever. In other countries, the drinking age is actually really young, but it sounds like because of some of the experiences you had, that you started for maybe different reasons, which I think that really changes things. So here we go. I'm gonna go into this. We're gonna create like a transitionary color here. And we're gonna go right into here. Oh no! That's not what I wanted to do. But we're gonna make it work. All right, here we go. This is a good transitionary color. So, anyway, I mean, you know, I have definitely met people who have had challenges with that stuff, and you know, it's tough. So, what would you say is the way that helped you? What would you say is something that helped you the most to overcome your that relationship? What strategies did you? Oh no, I mean whatever. I mean maybe if someone helped, did you like pick up a hobby or did you just like did you seek help? Or are you just able to kind of figure it out on your own? And here we go. So painting in this shadow, this little transitionary shadow here. Hey, Marianne. Wow. Hey, thanks for being here. Talk to you later. And good to be able to share my art with you. Thanks for taking the time to hear about my other paintings and asking about them. So take care. Yeah. Yes. And here we go. So using this brush to create a sense of a dimension. bottom one looks decent, but this top one is still kind of, I mean, this bottom one's okay, but this top one's kind of funky. Oh, that's because the hair, I think the hair is, I think I messed up on the hair here. But anyway, let's transition this, get a little bit into the eyebrow. Give this a nice little transition here. Give it a transition on the neck here. There's so again, you were thinking you stopped, but while you picked it on it, so you had only one drink a week, and that was when you were 15. Hey, Emmy, how are you? Emmy, welcome, welcome. How am I doing? I'm doing great. I'm just getting in some painting before the sun gets too hot because it's summertime, and I can't really. It's hard for me to paint during the summer inside my apartment because there's not much space here. So the smells from the oil paint just really kind of like kicks up and just sticks around, even though I have air conditioning. You know, when I use the air conditioning, it's good, but it can only do so much for the smell, and yeah, it becomes a challenge to paint indoors. So I'm trying to paint before the heat really starts to kick up, so that I don't have to deal with too much paint fumes, which, you know, paint fumes are okay. I'm used to them. But usually if it gets to be a lot, it's much more of a challenge to deal with. Especially I find that like I'll finish painting and I'll get like a headache and stuff. But yeah. Awesome, Riley. Yeah, I mean, that's amazing that you had those people. And at the same time, you know, I happen to know people who had help from people, and you know, sometimes they still get stuck in it. So that's a very positive thing that you're able to take help from others and do something to totally change your life, I guess. I don't know if you change your life, but yeah, thank you for sharing some of those experiences. No, it's not easy to talk about sometimes. Yeah, I happen to meet a lot of people from AA lately. For whatever reason, I've just been meeting them. Not even like out in not even like out in not even out at bars, or well, I guess if people are going to AA, they're probably not at bars. But for whatever coincidental reason, I've been meeting random people in AA, and I guess Los Angeles is quite a big city for AA, and you know, just hearing those stories of people making these drastic life changes is pretty interesting, because everyone's got their strategy, their way of finding improvement and change and everything, and yeah. So let's see. Kitty Khan, let's see. You're right. Yeah, it's hot. And fortunately, I do have air conditioning, but I can't use it while I can use it while I'm painting, but it's just like, it doesn't feel good because the paint fumes definitely kicks in extra when I don't have air conditioning on. Which makes sense, right? So right here, this girl's ears are massive. All right. Hey, take care, Riley. I wish you a positive afternoon. So here we are. We're gonna go paint around here, and we're gonna go down right here. Yeah, I finally got to. Yesterday was a pretty good day. I had a half day of work for full pay, which was pretty neat. It's nice when you can work a half day and get a full day's pay. Yeah, they just they decided to cut us early, but they can't. But with their rules, they can't just cut you out. So, because they had already booked me for work, which is awesome. So good day yesterday. Got some painting done. I've been slacking a little bit on painting. And I consider slacking if I only paint like, 3 or 4 times a week rather than 5 or 6 or more. So anyway, you know what's funny is when I look at this up close, when you look at these transitions, all these facial transitions and shapes from afar, it actually looks like really interesting and unique. But when I look up close, it's some of these things are kind of distracting. Which is part of the reason why I love to live stream painting, is because when I can turn around, look at the camera, and kind of just see what it looks like on a small screen compared to like really up close, it's totally different. Different experience. And here we go. We're going to go into this face, and I want to paint some of these details on this face here. Got to go in here and add some of this transition shadow. And let's go like this. So one of the lower light. Oh, this one. You know what? Maybe it is. It very well possibly could be a version of him. I wouldn't be surprised, because this is based on a book that teaches classical drawing, and I wouldn't be surprised if they used the model of Dante Alighieri in this. I wouldn't be surprised about that. He is one of the greatest writers of all time. So are you a big lit person, Emmy? Lit? Or more poetry? That's really interesting that you said this, because I've been looking at this head, and I'm like, why does he look so familiar? What have I seen him in? Is he in a movie? And now that you mention it, yeah, this looks a lot like Dante Alighieri. And you know what's funny? So I thought that this was hair. So I painted it all black. But I think what it is what you're saying. It could be like that. I guess he has like a scarf on his head, I think, or something like that. How much does too much paint dry for? You think you added too much on your mask? That's a good question. Like, you really gotta share like how much paint is too much. Like for painting like this, you could see that I put a lot more paint in the background around the face. And painting like this, the background on the around the face took much longer to dry than like the kettle right here, which is a very thin layer of paint. But like I also don't know what kind of paint you use. If you use acrylic or if you use oil. But acrylic, it shouldn't take more than a day. But for oil, definitely like, you know, certain parts of this where like there's these huge globs of paint probably take like a week or more maybe like a week to fully dry. But then, you know, there's some areas underneath where there's some areas where you could kind of see I dripped mineral spirits, which basically thins out the paint. That can make it dry much faster, like, you know, a couple days or even like a couple hours. No, you know what, Emmy? I think you're right. I think you're right that he had like like a scarf on or a hood. I don't know exactly um, what it's called. Was he like a priest in a priest or something or cardinal? I don't know, but I know what you're talking about, and I didn't realize it until you mentioned it. So, you know, obviously I'm not going to change it now. I actually do like the black. However, just knowing that context is quite interesting because that is probably what the person who came up with these was going for, was a little classic Dante Alighieri, which I didn't even think about until you brought it up. The shadow's a little too distinct. We're gonna fix that in a bit. And then let's work on a transitions on this face here. So this one needs some transition here. Right around the eye, go into the head right there. Black looks nice too. Study his work for school. Yeah, classic Plastic material. So Emmy, you said you live in Italy, right? What time, Alexa, what time is it in Italy?
In Italy, it's 6:22 p.m.
6:22 p.m. So you're just wrapping up with your day pretty much, huh? So living in Italy, you woke up 2 hours ago because you went to sleep at 5 a.m.? Oh, shoot. All right. Hey, so does living in Italy, does it actually make you feel like you're living like one of the cultural epicenters on the entire planet? Do you feel like a connection to artwork and culture because you live in you live in Italy? Or do you feel like because you live in Italy, no art can really compare to the art that it was created during the Renaissance? Or neither? You'd say neither. So here's a curiosity. When you, what part of Italy do you live in, by the way? Is it a major city? You don't have to share if you don't, feel like sharing personal info. But I'm curious what city you're from and how that influences your art tastes, if it does at all. It's amazing how just the different shadows can totally change the way a face looks. Now this one I moved forward a bit too much, and this one I gotta update the way the nose is, but so I got a little shadow right here by the ear. now what I need is I'm gonna put some shadow into this collar here, right up here. And so North Italy. Living in north of Italy. It sounds like you're a night owl, huh? Yeah, I can't stay up that late. My mind like shuts down pretty much after like 8 p.m. Kind of starts to shut down. And goes into like sleep mode. And let's go like this. We're gonna go. Gotta shape this ear a bit better here. Might have to rework these ears quite a bit, but I think we're getting the idea. Oh, okay. All right. Art history. So, if you had to write me into the annals of art history, how would you write it? Let's come up with a creative challenge here. Let's see. All right, and here's what we need to do. I'm gonna add a little bit more detail right now. And then we're gonna call this a day. Gotta fix the head right here. But you know what, like, not everybody is designed the same. You know, it might sound obvious, but we all have different sleeping needs, and some people are just not early sleepers. And you know what? That's just the way it is. I think the best thing we can all do is like figure out, you know, what the best, how to live our best life. Each and every individual, how each and every individual can thrive in the best way possible. And if that means that you need to cater to your late night needs, then that's okay. So the thing that's really going to separate this hair at this point is I think I need to take a break before I go into the hair. Because otherwise it's going to be too not focused. Or I am focused, but can lose a little bit of attention to detail. Filled with faces. Why? Sabine, welcome. My painting is filled with faces. If you need to ask, you can't afford it. That's what I'm going to say from now on. But on a serious note, though, this is what like gallerists are for. I feel for questions like these, like why is it filled with faces? I just wanted to paint faces. That's it. Kind of like a tattoo. Like why did you get that tattoo? I don't know. I just wanted to get a tattoo. I'm just kidding, Sabine. I'm not trying to give you crap. I mean, I am giving you crap, but I'm just kind of joking around, right? But yes, the painting is filled with faces. So if you really want to know, I will explain in detail. So this is part of a larger body of work that I'm working on. And it is the study of this. So Vincent van Gogh, we'll start off by saying I study Vincent van Gogh a lot. And this is part of that series. So what most people don't know about Vincent is that Vincent learned drawing through a book that his family's company was printing. So Vincent van Gogh, his brother was a art gallerist, and they owned a gallery called Goupil AC, so Goupil and CIE, and they owned an art gallery. And Vincent obviously became a painter rather than working at the gallery, and they published a book. Not this book specifically, but the stuff that's contained within this book was made by two authors, Charles Berg, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and Jean-Leon Jerome, I think. So what they did was, this was in the 1850s. Vincent van Gogh's family was like, Goupil was the first publishers of these books, and it teaches drawing, very classical style of drawing based on statues and sculpture. And Vincent, this as part of my personal studies into his work, Vincent went through this book 3 times. So not this specific book. This is a reprint of the original material, but basically all the original material was all of these things that you were supposed to learn to draw. And instead of drawing, I'm actually just painting them, obviously, as you could see. But Vincent went through this book 3 times supposedly and drew these things. And you know, it's funny because I've been through a lot of Vincent's drawings, and I would look through some of his drawings and I'd be like, whoa, that's so cool. You know, it's such a great drawing, but really it was just a duplicate, you know, his study of some of this material. So anyway, this is part of a larger, you know, I didn't necessarily want to go into this long drawn out answer. Hey Zola, I don't know if you're still here, but I was trying to avoid a long drawn out answer. Sometimes it can get boring, sometimes I could oversay things, sometimes I feel like I say stupid things. But that aside, the simple answer is this all started from a deep dive into the vortex of Vincent van Gogh's work. And these heads are basically painted versions, not in Vincent's style, but painted versions of these heads that he studied drawing from. Now, if you want to go more in depth, you feel free to let me know or tell me to stop. But if you want to go way more in depth, you know, this is also exploratory of some other things, right? Like taking in the context of what's happening now. I'm live streaming, so this is a body of work that I feel like I can regularly live stream and stay consistent with. That's some of the stuff that I do for live streaming. I do it because it's repeatable. I do it because I have the opportunity to be like, you know, I don't have to like spend an entire day thinking about what masterpiece I'm going to create, what's going to, you know, appeal to people. I can just do these projects day after day and live stream it. Where, you know, if I was only painting totally separate pieces, I'd have to really think about it every single day to try to plan what it is I'm going to paint. So, you know, this is a way for me to keep projects going, these heads. And if you want to dive in even deeper to my psyche, my deep psyche, I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, and I never will go to a doctor for it. But some part of me feels like, I don't like to like diagnose things, but some part of me feels like my attention, my level of attention, rather than talking about ADHD, my level of attention is geared more towards style of painting that is much more, let's just call it expressive, because actually there's no because. I don't know why I said because. I was trying to come up with something, but I couldn't think of anything. So much more expressive, which means that I need to have all sorts of different things to paint, which is why I have tons and tons of heads. And if you want to dive even deeper to the technical elements of this painting, a lot of different things, Sabine. A lot of different things. Working with composition, playing with, merging of ideas and heads, challenging myself to paint things at different angles. I could just constantly keep this book like flipped and make every head kind of surround it like facing one way, but I like the idea of like painting heads that are like in different angles. And working with composition. If you also want to dive in even deeper, this exploration of Rothko's colors here. Well, not Rothko's colors, but Mark Rothko and his use of like these two tones. And I know some art geek out there, some elitist art person might say, "Oh, that's not Rothko. You don't know nothing about Rothko." But this is my playing with some of the things that he did. But there you go. Anyway, yeah, long story. I think that was about a 15-minute answer since you asked. And I'm sure there's like more that goes on in this brain of mine. But yeah, if you've heard that and you want to be my curator, feel free to. If you are going to curate for me, I do expect an exact duplication of that answer. Exact, precisely. Just kidding. So a lot more. I mean, I could probably go on and on about this and my philosophical approach to art, but I will save that for when someone else asks me a question like that. I was totally prepared to answer that question. All right. So here we go. That is the extended answer to why my painting is filled with faces. I like faces. Who doesn't like a nice face? All right. So I did the hair here. I'm going to go right into here. Let me clean off this brush. I want to tighten up this red collar here. And as I'm doing this painting, I think John Singer Sargent really had it when he decided to use midtones, and then you can like either go darker or lighter on either side of the midtone. And here we go. So let's go. Where do we want to go from here? I want to. Do I want to do that collar right now? I think we're going to take a break here in a moment. We're going to take a break here in a moment. Break for the day. I was trying to see if there's any little touches that I can do. I don't feel this is complete, but I definitely feel that I should take a break here. Yeah. This mouth. Yes, I need to tighten up this mouth. Let's go bring in our black and our dark blue here. And this mouth, I messed up this mouth because I accidentally painted over the lips. So we're just give it a nice gentle lip here. And let's leave this for now. Oh, no. Tighten up this neck space. All right. Well, anyway, I'm gonna leave this for now. Let what I've done. Actually, you know what? I want to do the ear too. I'm looking at this. I should establish this ear better. So here we go. And this top ear is still pretty funky. So let's go in here. We're gonna keep the shadow right around here. Actually, this needs to go lower. Made this ear way too high. Made this ear way too high, so this needs to come. Ear needs to be adjusted and come down a little bit. It's gonna come up right around there. And here. There we go. Let's see. All right, so I will go ahead and fix this round this eye out. Let's see how I can adjust these eyes a little bit. All right, and oh, right, darken the shadow on this nose. Get that shadow. Get some more shadow for this figure right here. Let's bring this nose down a bit. And create this shape a little better. Give this part a nice little outline. And let's go here. All right. And some of the details here. Yeah, I think we are almost done with this. Maybe a couple more days. More hours. Okay, so clean off this brush and let's wrap this up. break on this. As we close up, we'll say that it is great to be able to paint for people, and I hope you all get to do something creative this weekend. I know it's almost the weekend. We got one more day. I guess some of you might already be in Friday. Here I am loading layer upon layer upon layer of paint. And eventually we will get to a result that we want. But keep trusting the process, whether it's for artwork or for your life. And I hope you all have a great day. I'm going to call this a done for now. We'll be back probably tomorrow. Well, maybe Monday. I have a busy weekend ahead, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to paint, but we'll hope to be back soon. I have to be back soon. I must. You got to make it a must. You got to make your art a must. I guess that's the message that I want to wrap up with is so I had a life coach at one point, and there was something that they constantly pushed into me. Rosie Red, thanks for sticking around. I'm going to be wrapping up soon. But there's this thing that my life coach constantly pushed into me, or pressed on me, is this idea that the things that you want to do, you have to make it a must. It has to be something that, like, if you don't do it, you know, not life or death, but if you don't do it, you know, you shouldn't make anything life or death, really. But you have to make things a must, that if you don't do it, like, something about you just doesn't feel complete. And how do you make something a must? I learned it from this book called the Awaken the Giant Within. It's a motivation book, personal growth, self-help, whatever you want to call it, by Tony Robbins. And the very, very first chapter in this book is making a decision. And although that sounds really simple, really basic, like, you know, I know this stuff already, like mumbo jumbo type of thing, I think it's a really powerful idea to, he makes a good argument. I highly recommend the book. If anything, just to read the very first two chapters, Awaken the Giant Within. This idea of making decisions in life. If you need something to be your must, if you want it, whether it's being creative or something else, you gotta make the decision to do so. And the book kind of goes into better detail, but I do want to wrap up with this idea of, you know, hopefully being helpful to you viewing is, you know, a lot of us go through our day, we make a lot of decisions, right? We're constantly making decisions. What to wear, what to eat, who to call, who to be friends with, who to not be friends with, what type of coffee to order. And we could totally get into a decision fatigue. But the thing is most of those decisions, we kind of take for granted our power to make decisions. When we say, hey, we want to have coffee right now, we'll go get that coffee. If we make the decision like, hey, I'm going to go, you know, be nice and take my significant other out on a date, when you make that decision, you're going to do it. But where the gap really comes through is our decision for some of the bigger things, some of the things that are more challenging that we feel like we don't have control over, like developing a skill, exercising, going to the gym, building a certain relationship, getting a raise at work. There's certain things that we feel like we might not have control over, but at the end of the day, if you can make a strong enough decision we make a lot of very basic decisions that are simple: what to wear, what to eat, all those things. But when you can really take that idea of making a decision, a very powerful, strong decision, into anything in life, I truly think that it can help you do those things, whether it be breaking a bad habit or whatever. So if you can make a really strong decision right now, like not just I'm gonna have a steak for dinner, and then going out to get it, but something really powerful, right? Something very meaningful to you, something that's important to you, getting fit for winter, getting into a certain school, learning a certain skill, whatever that is. If you make that decision, a really powerful decision, something with like emotion behind it, a huge desire, a need to, you can do it. You can do something very great in these next few months. So that's my motivational speech for the end of this stream, based on Awaken a Giant Within. I'm basically trying to adapt what Tony Robbins wrote in an entire chapter after decades and decades of teaching people. I'm trying to condense that into my last 2 minutes, but I hope that was helpful. That was a very helpful idea for me that got me to push me to become a better artist. Is simply making a decision to do so, making this decision to become a better artist, and constantly work on it. Decide to paint, decide to draw, decide to exercise, decide to call your parents, whatever that is. Decide to learn how to cook, decide to become a YouTube streamer or whatever, decide to grow your social media, decide to ask for your boss for a raise, whatever those decisions are. Don't make it a weak decision. Make it a very strong decision with like an emotional attachment to it, like a powerful a feeling to it. And chances are you're probably going to get what you look for. So with that, have a great day, everybody, and talk to you later. Bye.